Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan welcoming you back to Season 4 of the MindShare PodCast. Additional podcasts are available at MindShare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems and the Buzz Conference. Be sure to check out our sponsors and what they have to offer on our site, MindShare101.com. Also, I am really excited to announce that MindShare 101 is hosting our first ever MindShare M3 retreat. This is taking place April 16th to the 21st in the Mayan Riviera. This exclusive retreat is going to help you take your business to your next level. We're going to work on mindset. You're going to mastermind with some incredible like-minded people. And of course, we're going to teach you how to master the art of mindshare. This hotel is out of this world. It's an incredible destination. You have to check it out. Just go to mindshare101.com/retreat. And let me tell you, spots are limited, so do not wait. Again, that's mindshare101.com/retreat. Now, we are almost at 100 reviews on iTunes, and so please take a moment to rate and review. Leave a review of the show over at ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Your name will be entered into a draw to win some free swag. And just before we get into the show, this week, I want to shout out Carla Corsi, one of our awesome one-to-one coaching clients. She has officially passed the $300,000 mark this year, which is a number she never thought she would hit. And I tell you guys all the time to dream big, think big. Don't let anything get in your way of believing you can do it. And I have to say, she keeps pushing the limits. She keeps working hard, and every time she is tasked with an action step, she smashes it. She really is the definition of hardcore hustle and effort. She's also the definition of success. And not only that, but we've managed to help her increase her referral business by 42% in less than 6 months. I keep saying it. We put in the effort, so we get the results. We plan way ahead of the rest of the pack, so we always stay ahead of the pack. MindShare masters are not most people. And that's what happens when you coach with me on MindShare 101. You experience a coaching program like nothing else out there. This is you and me. This is completely custom tailored to your needs. And whether you're new, you're a veteran in the business, our one-to-one coaching is your answer. Inquire with us today. Just go to mindshare101.com and click on coaching. One of our MindShare experience coordinators will be in touch within the hour. Today's episode is number 209. She's a realtor, entrepreneur, real estate trainer, an absolute optimist dedicated to improving the lives of everyone she meets. She's a multiple RE/MAX Titan Award winner, selling an average of 100 homes a year the last 5 years as an individual agent, using efficient systems, a unique support staff model, and refined negotiation skills that cut to the chase. Selling real estate has provided the financial freedom for her to live her childhood dreams of owning and showing horses in 3 disciplines, traveling, and having kitchen dance parties with her daughter and husband. As an evolution from selling real estate, she has spoken on stages across North America and has taught hundreds of real estate agents in her signature framework of clarity, confidence, and consistency through one-to-one coaching in her unique group coaching program called Shine. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare podcast is realtor and entrepreneur Sara Kalke. Sara, welcome to the MindShare podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a blast. Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I know you were getting a course started just now, I think, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep,
Lots going on in your world too.
Meets. Yes, indeed, for sure.
100 deals as an individual agent. I want to get into that with you, but I want to go to something like a little bit more like big and pressing here. Not really pressing. I'm just making a joke, but you love horses.
I do.
Do you watch Yellowstone?
Yes.
You got to, right? Oh
yeah,
my
of
God.
course.
Hooked. And did you watch 1883?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh my God, come on. I just finished it last night. Absolutely awesome. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, like, where have you been? But no, seriously, how long? Okay, let's get into like the real deal stuff, right? Because I know people like they might like horses. I could tell you a story about the fact that my wife got bucked off a horse. Yeah, it was bad. Like they said to us, they're like, don't let this horse get close to that horse because that horse will kick this horse. And that's kind of what happened. And then she was like on the horse that got kicked.
Uh-oh.
Could have been worse, but she'll never get back on a horse again.
Oh, no. Oh, I get it, though. I get it.
What are you going to do? So tell me, Sara, how long have you been selling real estate? I've heard your name in the industry. I know you've been doing some awesome stuff out there. You got a good following of people that really love you. How long have you been in the business for?
I started as an assistant in 2005, and I've been selling real estate on my own since 2010.
Okay, cool. So then starting as an assistant, were you a licensed assistant at the time?
Yeah, unlicensed first and then licensed since 2008. Yeah.
Cool. So here's like the pressing question on that one, because I know a lot of times people hire an assistant and kind of go, well, if they're not licensed, they'll stay with me. If they're licensed, they might want to like take off and go.
Right.
Is there still a connection with the person that you were working with in the past?
Not really.
Okay.
I started working. I have a classical music degree. That's what I studied in university. I'm an artist. I'm really more of an artist than I am a salesperson. But I worked for a family friend who was in real estate, so I could make enough money to be able to ride horses. That was my jam. And I was like, yeah, real estate, fine. I'll just be an assistant for a little while. Cool. And I was going to go to law school again, so I could afford to buy horses. And they're expensive if you haven't heard.
Well, I was going to say the money probably would have all gone to law school at that point, though.
Yes, no, exactly. So I was saving up. I was going to go to law school, wrote the LSATs, ready to go to law school. Everything was great. And this agent that I worked for at the time said, hey, I'm planning on retiring in 3 more years. So I'd been an assistant for 2. I'm planning on retiring in 3 years. I want you to take over my whole entire business.
Wow. So
just stay working for me. Please do not go to law school. Get your license. And the license thing kind of happened by accident, actually. Work for me. And 3 years down the road, this specific day, January 1st, 2010, you will be on your own. No, 2011. Sorry, you will go on your own. I'm like, okay, no problem. Amazing. So don't go to law school. I spend the next 3 years of my life working for this real estate agent, and 2 months before I'm supposed to take over the business. And I'm talking, I didn't work for him as just like your regular assistant. It was you were like in the
trenches.
Yeah. I was like building what was going to be my business.
Yeah.
So worked.
Oh my God. I'm feeling like something big is about to be dropped right now.
Yep. You got it. Was totally dedicated, everything, took this guy from kind of lower middle of the pack to top 5 agents in Edmonton. Everything was great. 2 months before I'm supposed to take over the business. Now, remember, I just got married. I just bought a house.
Oh my God.
I had everything on the line. He sits me down and says, hold
on. Just we're doing the climax right now. I want everybody to realize something, all right? Things that you want in life don't just come. Okay, there will be ups and downs, and your plans could get totally kiboshed. But I'm going to fast forward right to the end here for a second, or go right back to the bio that I read off. She's kicking ass. So, okay, keep going. I don't want people to realize, success doesn't just go like this, right?
No, I wish. So there I am, house, mortgage, just had a wedding. We paid for the whole thing ourselves. We're like, we don't come from money, my husband and I. So here we are, 2 months before I'm supposed to take over the business. The guy sits me down and says, I changed my mind. The last day I live will be the last day I sell a house.
Oh my God.
I am not putting my business over to you, and absolutely went back on his word 100%.
You just gave me chills here. I can't even imagine what you were going through at that moment.
Yeah. So I wanted to puke. That was my, I was like, what am I going to do? And so here I am, no additional degree. I mean, I have a degree in flute performance of all of the useless things. I mean, it's a great degree, but I
gotta tell you, it's funny because I've always said to my kids, I'm like, I don't care what you do in life. Even if you want to play the flute, just do it really well.
Amazing. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And do it really, and I loved it. It was great, but there's no money. You can't buy horses if you're a classical musician.
Okay.
Slight logistical problem. Yeah. So there I was, and I had no choice. And the owner of the office and everybody in the office had known this was the plan. I'd been kind of paraded around like, this is, my exit strategy, blah, blah, blah. We met, and he was like, hey, come meet with me. You need to leave this office, go start your career somewhere else, because you will never, ever, ever be able to deal with the dynamic with this guy, basically. Because he's just really not the greatest dynamic there. So there I was, beginning of my real estate career with all of this debt, owned a house, and I think a lot of people listening will relate to this. I had no choice. Thankfully, I've always been really good at saving because I moved out when I was in high school. I've been supporting myself for a very, very long time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to figure this out. I had some savings, but I had to figure out how to sell houses and do it fast.
Wow. That's like a complete shift right there, just thrown right in your face with so much going on, all these big plans.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, I'm not using the word pivot, even though I just said it. I'm not doing that because it's just overplayed, but you know what I mean? Like you have to shift, right? You have to shift. So tell me this then, like coming out of that then, what did you do to get the first deal and where'd that come from? Because now you're in this moment of like, I'm going to work this database that I've been working, these relationships I've been being introduced to. And I got to say, just as a sidebar to that as well, that for any new agent that is struggling, instead of finding mentors and coaches and people that can help you out and doing all the learning you possibly can, join it with somebody that knows what's up. Join it with somebody that can teach you the ropes a little bit is never a bad thing. Just make sure that there is a plan in place. Make sure that there is, sort of that long-term, like, where are you going next? Right. But so what did you do, Sarah?
Well, the good news was I was already thinking about taking over this business for quite some time. So all of my friends and my network, and I'm not a huge extrovert. I'm not one of those people that just like knows everybody, goes into a room and like shakes hands with I'm kind of like a quiet, shy person, more or less. And so I don't have a huge network, but all the people in my world knew me as an expert in real estate already. Oh, cool. I staged homes. I did all the marketing. So
she's building all sorts of MindShare
of me. Yes, exactly. As someone who they could trust from the get-go.
Awesome.
And this is why, just what you said makes so much sense for so many agents. Like, you're not going to go to a restaurant with a chef who's never worked in a restaurant before. If you go to a restaurant and you're like, wow, that person was the sous chef at, whatever fancy restaurant for 5 years, and then they open their own, suddenly you have cred because everybody is like, oh, right, that guy definitely knows what they're doing, or she knows what she's doing. And so it wasn't actually that difficult for me to get my family and friends to trust me. I didn't get the people start in real estate, all their family and friends are like standing in the corner with their arms crossed, being like, good luck with that. And then all the real estate trainers. Give us about 5
years to figure out if you can.
Yeah, totally. We're like, good luck. Yeah. And then all the real estate trainers are like, go to all your family and friends. That's your business plan. And of course, it's a total mismatch and people leave the business because no one wants to trust them. So it bridged the gap. So my first deal ever was actually a sign call from my office. Oh, okay, somebody had a random hey, we want to list our house. They called the nearby office, and it was a hilarious transaction. The people were wonderful people, a little bit eccentric. The listing almost collapsed because their budgie died. And their budgie was like their heart, like their best friend. And they were bereft because this budgie died. And they were like, we have to take our listing off the market and grieve the loss of our budgie. Like,
just when we thought we've heard it all. You know what I mean? Just when you thought you've heard it all.
And I was like, no, I need this money. You need to sell your house. So, I send them flowers and, sat down with them and they told me stories about their budgie and, we got through it and they kept their house on the market and I sold it. And that was, that off to the races from there.
Oh my God. That is so funny. What a funny story. We got people complaining about oh my God, there's going to be a home inspection and the roof or something. This is the budgie. Anyhow. Okay, so tell me this. First off, multiple Titan Award winner. Mm-hmm. That is huge. Congratulations. That is massive. And for those in the network there, understand what that means. 5 years in a row, individual agent. And you as I was reading the bio, I saw unique support staff model. And this led me to the first thought that I had was do you have an assistant?
Yes.
Okay, so there's somebody there that's actually helping you do stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Big time.
Okay, and then without getting into full on details of the arrangement, because we get a lot of people that ask the question of I want to hire somebody, but I'm not really sure what to do or what kind of model I should go after, right? And we know that there's you could skin the cat in 10 different ways if you wanted to, right? Do I pay them salary? Do I pay them part time? Do I guarantee them X amount of percentage off of commissions or deals or whatever? again, not to get into the nitty gritty, but maybe more of an advisory thing. Like, how do you advise clients to go about remuneration for, an assistant, an admin on a team?
Building out admin practice is my specialty.
Ooh,
because I started in it, because I understand it so well from having done it for so long.
All right.
Implementing it and helping people implement assistance in their world is my jam. It's like my favorite thing. So number one, most important thing is you have to get out of your head whatever you think that an assistant is probably holding you back from hiring an assistant. If you're like, I don't want to hire someone for 40 hours a week, real estate's too inconsistent, no problem. Not everybody in this world wants to work 40 hours a week. There's a massive untapped workforce of incredibly talented human beings who want to work 0 to 4 hours a day. It's okay. It's totally okay. You have to start thinking of them.
So there's the first paradigm shift right there. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be 40 hours.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Contract work is your best friend. Now, contract work for, our Canadian audience, you have to make sure that you're, smart with your accountant and, they're using their own tools. They set their own hours, like talk to your accountant, make sure you get all the contracts and everything set up properly. But you can hire people to work for you part-time. I have found the most talented, incredible, motivated, driven, creative, responsible folks are stay-at-home parents.
Okay. Because they're driven.
Yeah. I have
they're trying to do something with that time that
engineer.
they've got in between, let's say, kids coming home or right.
Yeah. I have a network engineer that works for me.
Interesting.
She is brilliant human being.
What is a network engineer doing for you? Engineering your systems and models, or no? Helping with
She's like my appointments ops manager.
Cool.
So she sets up all the appointments, deals with all the clients. She had an early job working for TELUS in a call center. So you think could I just hire someone to answer the phone and deal with those agents who are like, hey, where's the key box? Where's this? How do I do this? Hey, I'm at the property and this is happening. And oh my goodness, we missed the showing and this and this and this. You have your perfect customer service person.
Is this like an hourly thing that you do then? Like you sort of give like an hourly fee?
Yes, because that role in particular is a really special one, and one that most agents listening to this are going to be like, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So if you want somebody to answer your phone and set up your calls, obviously you don't necessarily want to have them on salary to sit around and file their nails from 8 until 4 every single day. You want somebody who is at home anyway. They're on their phone anyway. Cough, cough, stay at home parent. That's like, they're there.
Yep.
And they can answer the phone. So she gets paid specifically 3 hours a day, whether or not she works at all. Because I don't think it's fair to say, I want you to be completely accountable and responsible to me and on call from 9 to 9 every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year without paying her for it.
Right.
But in exchange, and you can do 2 hours, you can do 3, just depending on the volume. You can do 1 hour a day of just bulk work. And all they have to do is just be that person who is essentially your receptionist.
So like you give them 3 hours, but that call could come in at 9 a.m. There could be a call at 4 p.m., 7 p.m. Exactly. The agreement is you're going to take that call, but we know that call's not an hour call, but I'm not going to pay you per call. I'll give you money for 3 hours a day, but be available here when that thing rings, deal with that.
You answer it.
Cool.
100%. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's actually one of the later hires that I made was having this. It was when, my conventional assistant was so busy doing what she does best that she didn't have the time to be interrupted perpetually by the phone, by appointments, by showing requests, by all of that stuff. And here in Alberta, it's important to put an asterisk that our office does not manage showing appointments for us. Agents have to do that themselves. So you can only imagine, in a slower market, we'll carry 35 listings.
Yeah.
Imagine booking showings yourself for 35 listings.
Wow.
And then dealing with the logistics of all of that. It becomes impossible for you to do anything else besides that. So that's a good example. So part-time staff, getting back to the point, part-time staff is your best friend. Contract work is your best friend. Then in terms of salary, look up, just Google living wage wherever you live. Living wage Toronto, living wage Calgary, living wage Edmonton, where I'm from. And that will give you a good guide of what somebody needs to make per hour in order to basically exist where they live. You should not be paying anything less than that if you want staff that's going to stay.
Right.
What you will learn, like what most great business owners learn, is that the most expensive thing with staff is finding the right person and training them. And it's just like finding a great tenant for a rental property.
Sure.
It makes sense to have a decent rent that you're charging and not charge through the roof so you have constant turnover. It's the same thing with staff. You pay them well, give them great bonuses, add on some creative bonuses if you can, and it really makes a huge difference. So people will stay with you for the long haul, which is what you want.
Love that. Love that. And I mean, one of the things I add on to that for everybody is, where you start is almost looking at, making a list. Just take a pen and paper, make a list and say, what are things I need help with? Make a sort of a secondary list that says, like, what are the jobs I don't like to do? And now you're going to have a whole list of stuff that you're going to be able to say, wow, that would be great if I could have somebody helping. And then you take what Sara was just teaching around, thinking about kind of this guaranteed of, hours, but hourly versus salary. And then looking at what are the wages in my area, now you can have a good sense of what to pay people.
Yeah.
Great advice there. So now, what would you say to any agent who believes that they need this like ginormous mega team to succeed? And I'm talking like they're in the biz and they're like, they've had some few good years. They come up and they're like, Sara, I really want to build a team. And you're looking at them and you're like, but you're all by yourself right now, right? Yeah, but I want to build a team. Why do you want to build a team? And there's obviously depths of conversation there, but what do you normally say to people when they say that? Like they feel they need a team to get to their next level. Do they? Do they not? What advice do you have for them?
Well, the first thing you said is they feel like they need a team in order to be successful.
Right.
So my first question back is define success.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
what does that mean?
Fair.
Because team building, there's so many words that are trendy in real estate. Everybody's talking about pivot, leverage is a huge one. And for some reason, everybody is talking about this $1 million mark. That, oh gosh, if you want to make $1 million a year in real estate, if you want to make $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, like that is somehow the gold standard of success. And I'm like, okay, so you can gross $1 million, but how much money and what does your life look like are two very different questions.
Right.
So the team situation happens, I think, because most people who are pitching the team don't sell real estate anymore. And they never liked selling real estate. I'm going out on a limb. I'm being very bold with
this. Yeah, no. This is the MindShare podcast. You be bold. Like we got to hit people in the forehead with stuff here. In the nicest,
I mean it kindly. Ways. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean it in a mean way. I think a lot of the people who started teams or who teach about teams don't want to be in the trenches, as they call it, selling real estate. That's totally fine. Selling real estate is very hard. Working with people day after day is hard. It's a challenge. So if success starts to look for an agent like, gosh, I want to make money, but I don't want to have to go meet with clients anymore. If you made me have to, go show a house, sit in an open house, meet with a seller one more time, I'm going to stab myself in the eyeball. Then yes, get a team. Because you said it well, when we talk about hiring people, we need to hire someone who's better at your worst thing than you are.
Absolutely.
So if you are like just not great anymore at relationships, or you can force it, but you hate it, then yes, outsource that for sure. Bring a team member on. The problem with it is that you're going to make less money.
That's right.
You're going to net less money, I will say, I should clarify, because everybody's talking about the gross number. Like that's the only thing that exists in our business, which is so ridiculous. Yeah. It's because brokerages trained us to do that, by the way, because brokerages
all the award levels and all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. It's just, it's like they put you on the hamster wheel.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, this is what I need. I need to gross more money. Then I'm cooler. Then I get respect in rooms. Then people talk to me, whatever. It's like, no. It's really this definition of what is it that you want. Now, the most expensive, most dangerous thing a realtor or real estate agent can do in their business is outsource the two most valuable things that we actually get paid so much money for. And that is relationships and contracts.
Thank you.
That's where you're the most exposed. That's why we exist, is to build relationships and write contracts. Without those, your business doesn't exist.
Right.
Booking showings does not count on that list. We don't get paid, the huge amounts of money that we get paid. And we'll admit it, it's a lot of money. We don't get paid a lot of money because we're good at doing a Canva graphic. We have a cool logo.
What do you mean? I shouldn't spend my entire day making like a TikTok dance?
God. Please don't. Please stop it. Right? It's the relationships that you have and the contracts that you build. So when agents are so focused on and really taught and almost hoodwinked a little bit into thinking team, I need to have a team. What you have to know is that you start to outsource the two most important things in your business. So, and agents talk about this all the time. I spent lots of time in masterminds with people who owned mega teams. And these are like the most famous mega teams in the world.
Yeah.
And individually, behind the scenes, these leaders of very prominently well-known teams came to me and said, I wish I still had your business. You probably make more profit than I do in a year.
See, and I've brought that up many times to a lot of folks that are looking to make the team is you can look at what the Joneses have. You have zero clue what's coming home at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
In business, very much as everybody's getting up to go out there and make money to pay bills so they could support their lifestyle, get horses, ride Harleys, like what? No, seriously, like whatever it is. And it's life, right? There's something to be understood that, you don't know what that other person's actually bringing home. And if they're spending X and you think, oh my God, I got to go do the same thing so I can be like them. You don't know what the profit looks like. And it may not be what you thought it was. Right? I mean, my advice to that is always blinders on, right? Like blinders on, headphones on, like stay in your lane and like kind of focus on what you got to be doing. Right. Now, speaking of what you got to be doing, are you a time blocker?
Yes.
Like, are you like, I mean,
100%.
Yeah. Like to me,
can we
like
go back to the last point for just one second?
Yeah, go for it.
So the team thing.
Yep.
I do want to say, because I don't want to just throw shade on teams.
No. We're not. No, fine. Do this. I like that because we're not doing it right.
I want to make sure, because that's not my point. Yeah. The point is, if you want to have a team, it's because you have the world's most generous heart. And you love seeing agents succeed. You want them to build relationships. You want them to be really successful. You love training people up and letting them get their wings and fly away. That is the reason you should definitely get a team, is because you want to help other agents succeed. And you're not attached at all to the fact that you're going to train them and then they're probably going to leave. And if you have that mentality, they'll stay with you probably forever. But I wanted to make sure that because there are some incredible teams and some team leaders who have changed the lives of people who had no real estate experience, had no ability to grow, do anything in their life. And these agents are coming in and making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year on leads that are generated by these really smart team leaders. So I'm not throwing shade on the teams. I'm just saying, know why you want to do it and make sure your heart's in the right place. And then, yes, let's talk about time blocking.
No, hold on. But I think that was a great, I love the add-on to that. I really, really love the add-on to that. And I think that it speaks volumes to people that it's a paradigm shift right there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're almost going to build it up so you can help, or you're building it so you can help other people. And if they fly with their own wings, don't look at it and go, oh my God, I screwed up. Look at it and say, you know what? I'm proud. Like, look what we did. We gave somebody the empowerment to be able to take their business to another level.
Yes.
And I mean, that's a special thing in life. Cause I mean, I think as we talk about adding value, another one of these buzzwords, and we talk about, giving back and doing all these things, that stuff is very true. And when you could do that for others and you can empower others to get to that level, I mean, I know for myself at least, and I'm sure for you based on what you do outside of just the real estate stuff, but it's empowering. It's just fulfilling to watch somebody else win.
Totally.
I love winning. Don't get me wrong. But part of that comes from helping so many other people win, right?
That's right. For sure.
Okay, time blocking. Talk to me. Like, maybe a short form answer to that, but I bring that up because I'm very specific about time blocking. And, I had this paradigm shift like a while back, which I've shared with my audience many times now, but we cannot manage time. We can empower time to manage us.
Mm-hmm.
right? So, because I can't,
totally.
like, I stop my clock, yours keeps going, etc. But, knowing what we got to do and when we got to do it is absolutely crucial. So, yeah, I was just wondering, like, so you operate 2 o'clock in a day?
Oh, I am obsessed with time blocking. My calendar runs my life. Really.
Titan Award winner, everybody. Okay. And again, for those Remaxers, check that out, right? Like, you know what that means.
Well, here's why. I got into real estate because I wanted to ride horses. That's the thing. I wasn't like, wow, I really want to be a realtor when I grow up. I wasn't that kid. I was like, I want to be a cowgirl when I grow up.
I want to ride that horse. What?
I do.
Let's just do this because I got to get riding. Okay.
That's amen. You become very efficient when you are tied to what you actually want in life. And for most real estate agents, real estate is a freedom destroyer rather than a freedom creator. And most people get into real estate thinking, wow, I'm going to have so much freedom. I'm going to set my own hours. I'm going to have my own schedule. And then they start selling real estate and they realize it's not like that at all, right? Oh my God.
Trust me. So, I know that one well.
Right? It's too easy. So time blocking for me was really a discipline because I would just work all the time. It's like how I'm made. Like my brain would just be like work all the time. Like if I was a dog, I'd be like one of those hyperactive border collies that if you don't get something to do, it like chews its own paw off because it's just like needs to be going.
I just had this vision of you like sitting in the office, like nothing to do, like.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Like it would not be good. And part of that is I got to a point, years in real estate, and we've all been there, you ride the roller coaster up and down. And I got to a point where I was like, wow, I have horses, but I don't actually see them. And any little thing would derail my riding plans. It was always like, oh, somebody wants to see a house. And because I was living in such scarcity, and I had to, like, I needed the money. And let's not make that mistake. Like, I hate when people listen, they're like, wow, you're selling 100 houses a year, whatever. I have been in the real estate industry for 17 years. It took me 7 years to get to the point where I was able to sell 100 houses a year. And then another 2 or 3 after that to be able to now sell 100 houses a year. And I probably shouldn't even say it out loud, but I think we went to like 16 horse shows this year. So imagine being gone 16 of like, and these are spring and summer, like the most important weekends.
So it took her,
it took a while,
17 years to become an overnight success.
Amen.
Just so everybody understands that, right?
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't happen overnight. Like it's just, that's a whole bunch of BS.
Totally. And I worked my butt off for many years. It was a lot of years of 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and probably more than 12 hours.
Congratulations to you.
I have to get that. Thank you.
That is, seriously, that is wicked because I think that you said it a second ago, right? Like people get into the business and we know that one of the top 2 reasons or 2 of the top reasons people get into the business is freedom and flexibility. Mm-hmm. Then when you get into the business, you ain't got no freedom and flexibility. So it's like, how do you actually apply that to your everyday, right? And that's where again I come back to it's this is the higher level of like goal setting and planning, but to me, time blocking is the foundation, right? Because once you understand what you want, ride horses, ride Harleys. Okay, seriously, like this is how we want to spend time with my family. Enjoy life. Like I love helping people. I love being on stage. I love it. I'm grateful for it. Again, I would love to be on the Harley more often. I'd love to hang with my kids as often as I possibly can before they get just too old and they're like, Dad, you're not that cool anymore. Even though, I tell them all the time, I'm like, I got to be one of the coolest dads out of all your friends. But anyway, sorry. Point is, time is of the essence and we need to use it wisely. Mm-hmm. What is the number one most overlooked element of client conversion? Because in a past conversation you and I had through a little bit of back and forth, right? You mentioned that. And I thought that's an important one. Let's bring that up for a minute.
So the number one most overlooked element of client conversion is product knowledge.
Wow. Timing of that is imperative right now because we got the media painting all the doom and gloom. And we got the homeowners going, oh my God, it's doom and gloom. Talk to me about product knowledge.
So I use this example. Imagine you're an agent doing an open house. You're sitting there at the open house, you get there a few minutes early, you put all your signs out and you're sitting there. Nice couple comes in. we're being very generic. They come in, they're like looking around, and they get in. You're like, oh hey, have a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. And you sit there and you're like eating your lunch, and they walk around and they come back, and you're like, oh yeah, so what'd you think? I think most people would say that. And they're like, oh, we like this. We didn't like this, whatever. You're like, okay, cool. Can I set you up on like a lead program, or do you want to go see some other houses with me? I'll send you immediate access to instant listings through my special secret search portal. And the buyers, of course, are like, oh, no, we're good. Thanks very much. Have a great day. And you're like, okay, thanks. And so then you go back to all your friends and you're like, open houses suck. They don't work at all. They're a total waste of time, right? Now, think about that same agent where they take into their mind specific knowledge, product knowledge, and they know you're not doing the open house on 5 minutes notice. You plan it probably at least a week in advance. So on Wednesday, which is your product knowledge day in your business weekly plan. So every Wednesday you go out and you preview properties. And right now, you can preview properties. It wasn't like this when the market was super hot, but now you can actually go and be like, hey, can I preview your house? And we're like, yes, please. I need to tell my seller some human being who actually looked at it, right?
Let me give some sort of feedback, please.
Yeah, really, anything. Just go. I don't care. Show it to your pet, whatever. Bring your budgie. You go.
To some people, the budgie joke might not have been funny. No, I'm joking. Keep going.
Anyway, so you go to every house in that neighborhood. Yeah. Every single one. And then you look at all of the other houses that have sold. And, same with the last 3-6 months, you have a good mental database of everything that's for sale and everything that is recently sold. You know the floor plans, you looked at virtual tours, you look at asking price to sale price, and you also get a really good look if you are in a market that has an MLS HPI, like a house price index calculator. Go and look at it. Look at the little cool graphy thing that you can find and find out what has the price done over the last year. Have that graph, know some things, memorize it. You also need to memorize all of your market stats. So whatever your real estate board has published, get those memorized in your brain. It's not that hard. Just memorize a few facts, right? It's just like school, like a chemistry test. So you go to the open house instead, and the clients come through and you're like, hey, let's pretend you're still eating your lunch. Like you still kind of suck, right? You're not like following them around. You don't have some like fancy extra program. You're still eating your lunch. They come back to you. They're like, what do you think? And they're like, oh, well, we like this. We didn't like this. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know. This kitchen totally needs a reno. So say they're like, I hate this kitchen. You're like, yeah, I know. It needs a reno. It needs to be gutted. And they're like, I'm like, do you like the floor plan of the kitchen though? Like, would that style of kitchen work for you? And they're like, we kind of like the one, we'd like to have a little bit more space. And you're like, well, have you seen the kitchen in the house at 123 Beatty Street?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no. And you're like, no, I was just there on Wednesday. They don't need to know you previewed it by yourself. I was just there on Wednesday. That house, even though the photos are kind of like, they don't show off how great the house is, it has the best kitchen. Like it has the perfect layout. It's everything this kitchen is missing. Suddenly they're like, what? Really? Yeah, we looked at the photos, but we didn't think it would work. And you're like, no, it's great. And they're like, but it's been sitting on the market. And I'm like, I know, it's been on the market for like 328 days. But part of that is it was listed super, super high and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, about, we could see it, but we're a little bit worried because we have to sell our house first. And we're a little bit stressed out because of the market. And you're like, hey, well, good news is, our market is still up. Our benchmark price is still up 11.4% year over year. So most sellers who are like super stressed are really, of course, we're not what we were in February this year, but you still have 11.4% more money to work with now than you did a year ago. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty amazing. We're still seeing homes sell. And if do you see what I'm using? Yeah.
And now you get,
you're smiling.
Listen, this comes back to the whole idea about digging for the need, right? And understanding. Like I'll tell you, and I've said this before, like my house personally, we've got this big fancy kitchen with the big ass island. Sarah, we're missing a kitchen table, right? Now, if you come in and you start going like, what do you want? I'm like, I want a bigger house. Oh, okay. Let's find you a bigger house. How many square feet's your house? You're missing an important thing there. Why do you want the bigger house?
Yeah.
And if you dig deep enough, I'm going to tell you, well, we're not like totally happy with the kitchen. You might come in and be like, this is gorgeous. What's wrong with the kitchen? Well, we don't have a kitchen table. We sit at the island. And now all of a sudden that changes things. And you start to go, wait a second. So is that kitchen table important for you? And if you know the house from 123 Beatty Street, whatever, that you saw on Wednesday, and you're like, whoa, you could like totally make that, like there's a kitchen table could go there. Now all of a sudden I'm like, yo, maybe you could take me over there. Maybe we could go by there together. Bang, now you got an opportunity.
Done. Exactly.
I love that.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, so here, as you just brought up some numbers and the market, we look at the challenges facing realtors today, and I would say that like at this exact moment, like the media is definitely like our enemy. And I don't know if they're ever our friends, but whatever. Do you think we're in a bad market?
Yes.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me more. Because I'm like, listen, because the house didn't sell in 30, 60, 90 seconds, it's taking 30, 60, 90 days. It ain't the end of the world. Numbers are still up. Interest rates are climbing. I do believe that the sky is not falling. I think there's still lots of opportunity out there, but I'm curious. You answered yes. Tell me. Tell us, all of us.
From the perspective of realtors, yes, I think the market is bad.
Okay.
And there's one metric I'm looking at, and that is volume. Price is irrelevant.
Volume
Inventory is irrelevant.
Right.
But the volume of sales
is down.
Being very low is bad because we make money when there are transactions. So lots of transactions is good and very few transactions is bad. Now, what agents have to know is that, and you're already alluding to it, the other factors are somewhat irrelevant. Pricing going up or down is somewhat irrelevant. Now, most people hang their hat on price and they say price is going up equals good. Price is going down equals bad. Like sad face. Like, no. Our job, it's fine. If prices are going up, if prices are going down, you can still make lots of money as a real estate agent. You can help people. And in fact, they're going to need great agents in bad markets. A bad market is a huge opportunity. You've heard this so many times. A bad market is a huge opportunity.
The way she spun that whole thing for you guys, like the whole thing just got, so I like that. Keep going. Sorry. I liked it though. Yes, it's a bad market. Bang. Opportunity. Love it. Keep going. But
that's being an entrepreneur. Is cool. You're like, where's the opportunity in this? Now, people have to start making transactions. And they will.
Yep.
Now, the type of transactions will be different, as we know. I'm preaching to the choir. People who will be transacting over the next year are going to be more regular people. It's going to be regular real estate time, which is, people upsizing, people downsizing. We're having, the massive baby boomer shift that is upon us. There's a lot of things that are going to continue to happen. We're not going to see as many people just buying just because it's cool and trendy. And for that, I would actually say the media was our best friend for a while because they worked everybody into such a total frenzy that everybody was buying a house in 4 minutes. They'd walk through with the offer basically written.
Yeah.
And that's awesome for a realtor. It's great being a realtor in a hot market because it's fun. It's like you're it's like you're in a money tube. Like, you remember those things from game shows? You're in a money tube and it's just how much cash can you grab?
Totally.
It's awesome. Like, you meet with sellers and they're like, well, we think we're going to get this much. And you're like, I'll get you more.
Yeah.
And then you even get them more than that.
Too, right? You look like a champ.
Like, that feels so good. And even with buyers, sure, it sucked and it's hard to get people an offer when there's 25, but like 25 bids on a house. But as soon as your client wins that bidding war, they are making money. It's incredible. It's win-win-win. All situations. On the flip side.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it. Finish that.
On the flip side, in down markets, we suddenly have to be really, really good at our jobs. We're not just order takers anymore. We're not just grabbing the cash. We are like planting the pennies in the ground and like watering them and weeding them and then hoping that they become a quarter. And then we're taking the quarter and we're planting that. Like it's a process now. Like we actually have to be good at our jobs again.
You got to work, you got to build, but you said it off the top. It's about building relationships. It's about connecting with other people. I say to, I use that sort of idea like that and like building MindShare with people, but doing it in a positive way that people look and say, you know what, I'm going to remember you. Mm-hmm. And when that time comes, you're going to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you've talked about some battle-tested elements that we need to know about, especially when it comes to winning in a down market. Is there anything to add on to what you just mentioned that sort of like includes some of those battle-tested elements?
Oh, so many things.
Oh, look at that. That's like that emo, like, oh, here we go.
So what people have to know listening to this is that most markets have gone up just kind of uniformly since 2008. There was a year in Toronto, like in the middle of 2018, where you had like a slight slowdown, but most agents do not know how to work a crisis market or a down market. I thankfully come from a market that's tied to oil prices.
Right.
And oil prices can be a yo-yo. Therefore, my market is a yo-yo. This is the third major price correction I've worked through in my career. Third major price correction. Most people have zero. This is my third one. Right. Oil prices crashed here 2014. Prices dropped. If you owned a condo, your price dropped 3 to 5% every year consecutively from 2014 until 2020. So if you do the math, people were losing 25, 30%, 40%, sometimes 50% of the value of the condo that they purchased. Talk about a bubble.
Wow.
And if a seller calls me and says, hey, Sarah, I have a condo to sell, my chance of selling that right now in our market is 5 to 10%. That's my chance of selling per month. So I have a 1 in 10, a 1 in 20 chance of selling that listing. And if I do sell it, so say I have 20 listings just so I can sell one measly condo every month, that one seller is very unhappy because they've lost a lot of money. And the 19 are just as unhappy because they haven't sold. So most people don't understand what it looks like to actually be in that market and grow your business 20+% every single year consistently. It takes grit. It takes courage. It takes an incredible amount of emotional intelligence. Here's some of the main principles. Number one, people don't believe you when you tell them bad news. So you have to show, not tell. So showing statistics looks like, I was just talking about the HPI indicator. That's a great one. Yep. Show them a graph. You can't just say, oh, the market is down. You have to reduce your price. You have to support the facts. You have to show them. You have to show them what economists are saying. It's not enough for you to be like, well, the market's going to be okay. It's fine. I'm absolutely want to just throw up when I hear realtors being like, it's not a bad market. Buy today. It's fine. Everything is fine. Now's a great opportunity. I'm like, well, why? Tell me why. Give me some statistics that you have memorized, ideally, where you can say, well, prices are up 11.2% year over year, or wherever you're at. Prices 3 years year over year are up 62%. So you're working with more money, and you have to understand those things. So that's the first one. Show, don't tell. And you show when you have actual data and statistics. Number two, you have to have a communication system, especially for sellers, because our biggest danger for realtors right now is that our expectations as realtors and our clients' expectations do not match reality. So expectation,
that's for sure.
Right, is I list my house, it sells in 8 minutes.
Right.
Or
for
even
way over asking.
Over asking. Oh, for sure. Even now, they're still like, oh, well, it'll sell in 14 days. That's about the tolerance that most people have, is 2 weeks. That's how instant our gratification has become, where waiting a long time is 2 weeks. What else do you wait 2 weeks for in your life? Nothing.
I think that's a problem of these things in the society we live in these days, right?
Massive.
This is that immediacy that we all demand so much,
Yeah.
But to what you were saying too, and everybody tuned in, like as she says, you gotta show them. Don't just tell them, show them. And understanding, and we don't have enough time to get into like the depths of neuroscience today, but when you do understand a little bit about how the brain works, the human mind, there's the middle part of the brain called the limbic system, which really deals with emotions. There's the bigger part called the neocortex, which is, again, the visuals and the physical. So when you wrap it all together, you don't just tell somebody something, but you show them, you let them see it, hold it, maybe grab that piece of paper, analyze it. You're going to drill down a hell of a lot deeper into the decision-making part of the brain that might cause somebody to say, hey, you seem to know what the hell you're doing. Can you help me out with this?
Yeah.
Right. So again, you're creating opportunities for yourself.
When you're also saying, this is the market. This isn't me. I want you to sell your house for 200 grand more. Promise me I do.
Right.
I want you to sell your house in 8 minutes. That's
so, Sarah, as we talk about being wildly successful, and we're sort of like at this point of, the end of the year, and we're moving into, 2023. I have no idea where the past 2020, like this year went, like it just like gone. We look at some of the things that we need to do to, again, be wildly successful. What would you say those include, again, as a sort of a nutshell, maybe answer? And do they include things like goal setting and consistency? And, what would you add on to that? Or what would you say about those things? What's your thoughts there?
The reason we're wildly successful is because, as you know, I'm obsessed with nature. I love horses. I love, all of this stuff. So if you think about being wildly successful, the word wild really contains freedom. In the wild, there are no fences, there's no restrictions, it's a very free space. There's also balance, good or bad. Like the lion will, eat the gazelle. The coyote will take down, or the wolf, if you've been watching Yellowstone.
I like the wolves.
That's actually what wolves do. Wolves are notorious for eating out uteruses of pregnant animals. They're very, very nasty creatures. They're pretty, but gross. Anyway, so there's balance, and it's not always fair or easy. And there's great, great beauty. So when you're looking at your business plan, here's what everybody does. They're like, I'm going to run a business plan thing. Let's all do, our company business plans. And what they sit you down to do is the worst possible thing you could do for your business. And that is, how many transactions do I want to make in 2023? What does that mean? How many phone calls do I have to make?
Right.
And you're just like, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, yes.
There is no exact science to that, by the way. Like, if I want to do X amount, there's no exact science.
It's fine. Like, you should have a business plan. Like, we're not talking about that. What I'm talking about is when you're looking ahead to the year, what's the thing you got into real estate for? For most people, freedom and profit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was me. Money and freedom, right? Yeah. Why don't you start there? Say, what does freedom look like for me throughout the next year? Does freedom really look like not hanging out with my family at all? Does it look like being completely just miserable mentally because it's hard doing business and real estate is a job again? Is that freedom? Being just like trapped in my mindset?
I did an event yesterday. And yesterday morning, I'm on a coaching call with a client of mine. And I had this mindset, just like we were going through the business plan and we're going, and let me tell you, a big part of that is always how many books you want to read. Do you want to get in shape? Do you want to go on vacations? Do you want to hang out with your spouse? How much time do you want to spend with family? Like, that is a big part of setting goals. And people look and go, no, I want to make money. And I'm like, I'll tell everybody straight. I love money. I want more money. I'm down for more money. Let's go. Mm-hmm. There's also that thing that says at the end of the day, when you lay your head down, I'm talking like decades from now, and people go like, what do you wish you did more of? Most people are going to say, I wish I spent more time with, right? And they probably won't say with money. They'll say with loved ones. And so I think that, that's a big paradigm shift right there. And so as we were going through a coaching call yesterday, and I'm on stage in the afternoon, and I'm like, I was saying this out loud to the audience. I'm going, instead of putting the income that you want to earn at the top of your list, why don't you put the vacations? Why don't you put the family time? Why don't you put the self-development, the personal development? Put that as like that thing. Make income a line item, but don't make it the line item. Because I think that's where, when we talk about wildly successful, like if you say to me, I'll say, I want to be on the Harley more. right? You want to be riding horses more.
Well, there's a zone in people's lives, thank you, capitalism, where having a certain amount of money is a baseline requirement for them to have freedom. You have to have some money.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I say I love money. Like, I'm with you. Yeah.
Like, totally. So this is not me saying, start with the end in mind and all that stuff. Like, yeah, of course that's important. But first you have to look at, what does freedom look like? Maybe that's money. Maybe that is, you have the money so handled that that you're going to get an obsessive spiral just worrying about it. So you're like, no, I have to plan my family time. You know how many of those like top agents had completely failed relationships?
For sure.
It was mind-boggling.
Because it wasn't a focus. That's the issue.
And yet you look at the folks that are on stages and that are on pedestals, like literal actual pedestals, and so many of them gross a lot of money, but the rest of the world is nothing that I would want.
Yeah.
But what do? We sit down and we say, how much money do you want? How much money can you gross? How much, and really how much respect and cred and everything else will you get when you have this huge amount of money? So everybody's sitting down right now and they're like, well, I better shoot for 20% more. I better shoot for this income raise. I better shoot for more money, like everything just because, and then the stuff that, the fancy vacation, the fancy this, the fancy that, the big car, the big house. And I think, this is my whole coaching world. All of the folks that coach with me are like, ew.
Ew to what?
Ew to everything being about income, status, showing off, all that stuff. They're like, that's gross.
Yeah.
What they want is to have what is true freedom to them, which is an amazing quality of life, relationships with their clients that they love, a business that they're proud of, where they really genuinely feel like they're worth what they're getting paid. Which I think is a dirty secret in real estate.
We're talking all about this money, and we both agree we love money.
I love money too.
But as you say the ooh part, you say about like what the clients are looking at. I think one of the things that gets me the most is when people talk about their money.
Yeah.
Right. Like how much they made or how much they're doing or how much they got from that deal. Like I love money. I don't talk about my money. I don't talk to anybody about my money. I don't talk to anybody about how much money we make. I don't talk to anybody about any of that because nobody's business. It doesn't even feel good to talk like that. And when I hear people speaking like that, I'm thinking like, shit, is that all you care about? And again, I say for the 17th time today, yes, I love money. But why are we talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like to me,
is it the only thing? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's interesting the way, like, yes, we have a desire for it. Yes, there's a need for it, to make the world go round. Yes, we're working for it. But I think to sit there and talk about it, how much you made and what you do and what you have, I don't know that to me, that does not attract me. Like, I don't even want to listen to that. That's almost like it pushes you away going like, shit, man. Like, okay, you got anything else to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing interesting.
Yeah.
But here, as we talk about that, and I keep an eye on where we're at on our show today. Question for you. How do you know it's been a successful day for you at the end of your day?
That's a good question. I think I could say, I have this like great checkbox system where I go through the every day. And I know there's planners that exist. There's, like the High Performance Academy manual is like, you must check off all these boxes every day. I feel like it's
a perfect time for me to give a plug on like our planner that you can get on Amazon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good right. I really think it's that I can close my eyes with no regrets for the day. And I know that sounds really hokey, but the things that I would regret in a day is, not showing up as a really good person, for one. If I was like really growly and, gross and cranky and rude and whatever, or if I didn't advocate for my clients, and sometimes that requires being a little cranky from time to time. If I didn't just show up with excellence and do my absolute best in everything, in my business, but even more so with my family. that I had this, real time. We talk so much about let's time block time with our family, but how many realtors do you know that time block time with their family and they're there physically, but mentally they're on their phone, they're thinking about deals, they're working on transactions. I call it the I just moments where you're like, I just
got to do this.
Have to make this phone. I just got to do this.
This is more important than you are right now. I'm just letting you know, but you're here. So it's like good, right? No, it's not good. No.
And it doesn't have to be a ton of time. You don't have to sit there, staring into each other's eyes for 4 hours to have quality time. It can be as simple as, my bio, like a dance party in the kitchen that took 2 minutes. You just have to be present for such short periods of time. We make these unrealistic expectations on ourselves and we look back on our lives or on our year. And if you're looking back right now with a tremendous amount of guilt, which I think a lot of parents, a lot of folks will be, they'll feel guilty. I let my family and my health come after my work. And those are soul crushing moments. But I encourage you to remember that people remember adventures. They don't really remember the day-to-day as much. So an adventure is just anything you do that's out of the norm. So it's taking, that 5 minutes to, have that dance party or to, sit with your kid and draw art with them, play that video game with them, do something that is like out of what you normally do. Then you can do incredible things that everybody remembers without it having to take hours and hours and hours. You don't have to cook for your family in order to show them you love them. You don't have to do their laundry to show them you love them. I'm a big acts of service person, so I love doing that stuff for my family, but they want me to just be there and, be laughing and joking and, running through the field and trying to do cartwheels or, just doing stuff that's fun and light. And that's where beauty comes in our lives. I guarantee a lot of people who've gone on fancy vacations, you can't really remember most things, but you remember when you get out of your comfort zone and you go try paddleboarding for the first time, or you try, you all go on a boat tour, or you do something else. So think about making those little adventure moments rather than beating yourself up for not having just so much, they talk about time and I always challenge people, think about it just a little bit differently and you'll enjoy your life. You'll go to bed with a lot fewer regrets.
I love the answer and thank you. You're helping us still keep up our perfect record of batting 1,000 on that question. Not a soul has brought up the word money when I ask about how do you define a successful day. So just an interesting thought there. And to what you're saying there around, the family time and making the time. I mean, that's what the new book that we are putting together is going to help everybody with, because to me, it is so much bigger than sales or money. There's a bigger life out there for all of us. And there's a lot of stresses that everybody goes through, a lot of things that we ruminate about on a regular. And when we could figure out the answers and the solutions, which we're going to share with everybody in that book, how to get past that. It's amazing how you can have that wicked paradigm shift and start to really see your life in a very different way. So thank you for sharing that. So final words here, give me some final words for everybody that's tuned in, that they could use to help themselves get out there, build more mind share so they can get more market share, really kind of just take themselves and maybe something that you would say, like, do this before the year's up. Prep yourself now. What would you say as final words today?
Stop being distracted by shiny objects and, worrying about the shiny objects and go reconnect with all the people in your world. Not to sell them anything, not to be really cheesy. December is giving month in our books. Should be probably for everybody. When you give, it's not giving if you are giving for publicity or you're giving to get back. Giving is a very beautiful thing. And, every spiritual practice on the planet, doesn't matter which one you belong to, has the same exact principle, which is when you give truly, truly, when you give without expectation and you give not for the fame or credit, that's not giving, that's publicity. When you give, you will get back tenfold. So if you really want to know, the secret to my business, and the secret to everything, it has very little to do with any tips or tricks or oh, there's, this little widget that I use and this little web thing and this app and this, platform and this post and this copywriting and this whatever. I genuinely don't think that I am good enough at any of those things or that I'm special enough at any of those things to really do it much better than, maybe slightly better than average if I tried really hard. And I don't think any of us are. I think what matters is what's in our heart. And if we give, then it comes back to us tenfold. And sure, we can sit here and look good or be up on a stage and sound cool, or, at least we think we do. We try our best. It's genuinely, if you focus on what you give to people, and I mean that too in your business. When I talk about product knowledge, you are giving to people when you know your stuff.
Yeah.
You're bringing real value to the equation. And you can't, so that's the biggest thing is if you feel like, gosh, I want to do better next year. I want to get more. I want to be more confident. I want to just, up level. Think more about giving and you'll actually get way more back. But giving is, that hidden key that everybody seems to be looking for in a YouTube channel. What they're actually after is, within your own heart.
I would back that up by saying give to give, don't give to receive.
Yeah, for sure.
Sarah, where can people find you? Where could they tap into to the genius of?
Well, thank you. The easiest is just find me on Instagram. Send me a message, say hi, whatever. Tag me if you were watching this. Show your audience that you're learning and growing and doing stuff. That's really important. I don't think agents give themselves enough credit socially for the learning that they do. So do that. Say hello at Sara Kalke.
Wicked. Everybody, follow her on Instagram, Sara Kalke. Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today, helping everybody be wildly successful. I think the timing was great. I think that it was an empowering conversation. Lots of really good learning. And I'd almost argue, too, that there was a lot there for folks that are not even necessarily in real estate, but people in general. Definitely some amazing parting words about reciprocity, giving back, and really being genuine about that. Talking about family and talking about what's really important to you in life. All just the right exact moments right now for everybody to really reflect, look at what they accomplished this year, and take strides to be even better next year. So I thank you once again for joining us on the MindShare podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, MindShare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, it's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you get more market share. Or you could grab a copy of our perfect daily planner to help keep you organized day in and day out. Of course, if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, an in-person keynote talk for your upcoming event, and/or ongoing virtual training, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how we will help you do just that. Also, don't forget to enter your name in the draw to win free swag by simply leaving a review of this podcast, heading over to www.ratethispodcast.com/MindShare101. Connect with me on Facebook at MindShare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. I want to thank the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Be sure to check out all the awesome events they're always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz Digital Magazine. And of course, I want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. Remember, you are not marketing properly if you are not using one-to-one marketing. Check it out at MindShare101.com and click on Marketing. Also, of course, and very importantly, don't forget to check out MindShare101.com/retreat to check out all the details about our exciting M3 retreat taking place in beautiful Playa del Carmen. Space is limited, so hit that link up right now. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.